So I won't get into the full story of last night, but I will say, it's funny for these guys because they heard it. But I will say, the girl involved in the story was 21, and she asked me my age, and I said she was 42, and she said it was hot. And she told me about 50,000 times, "You're so hot, you're so hot, you're so hot." So, now that doesn't prove anything. It's a one-off instance. But with anything, or with anything that you think might be a hang-up, or with any particular characteristic of you, there's going to be some girls that don't like it. There's going to be some girls that really like it, and there's going to be most girls that don't give a fuck.
So don't feel bad about it because you don't know until you try.
I mean, what, you feel bad about having survived? That's fucked up, right? Like, age basically means I've survived longer, right? It's inherently a good thing, right? You're probably more successful. You're probably more worldly. You probably have more ideas to share. You probably have a better lifestyle to share, right? You genetically have proven that you can survive longer. If you were to get the girl pregnant, you're passing along the same genes. Your sperm hasn't deteriorated, right? Like, there's no reason that being older is worse, right?
It's just my fear of being blown out by those chicks that are like, "Oh, this guy's creepy," stuff like that.
That could happen once in a blue moon. It absolutely could. It could happen sometimes. It will happen sometimes. But it will happen a lot of times that the girl thinks it's hot. And it will happen a lot of times that the girl really doesn't care. That's the most common. The most common is she genuinely doesn't care, right? So yeah, it can go different ways. There are times when you might want to slow play it, or you might, if you think it could be an issue, you might want to avoid biographical questions early on and be more flirty to build more of a vibe before those questions come up, so that when they come up, there's already more established connection and more established attraction. There's things like that you can do. But inherently, yeah, you shouldn't be nervous or weird about your age or whatever. Yeah, most of the time it's going to be good. There's pros and cons of every age. Just like there's pros and cons of every height, every ethnicity, every sport that you used to play, every job you might have, there's pros and cons. This is actually something one of my coaches said on boot camp recently that I thought was really, really good. It's a message that I've conveyed in a lot of different ways, but the way he said it, I think, was so good. It was like the best conveyance of it I've heard in a really, really long time. Because a lot of guys have trouble getting a girl's attention on the open. You open and she just acts like you're not there and keeps walking, right? You're like, what the fuck, right? Why? Am I not human? Like, what's going on? But I have a question for you. If that very same girl had, like, we were talking like moving sets, hard sets to open, whatever. But still, that very same girl, if she had dropped her wallet, and you saw her drop her wallet, and you're like, "Hey, ma'am, you dropped your wallet. You want to go back, pick up your wallet." Would you get her attention in that situation? Is there ever a scenario where she would ignore you so completely that you wouldn't get her attention to tell her that she dropped her wallet? Probably not, right? I mean, at some point she might, if she tried really hard, to be like, "Oh, fuck you, lose your wallet," right? But no, to be honest, like, you would get her to stop, 100%. You'd get her to go back. Your tonality would stop her. She wouldn't act like you're not there, okay? And even before you mention the wallet, probably she's stopping because of the way you delivered it, the way you said it, the urgency around it, right? So the question is, can you have that same level of entitlement, urgency, and belief that you're offering her value when you approach her as you would if she had dropped her wallet, right? Here's a really interesting question for yourself, like good inner game question. Do you believe that you as a boyfriend are worth more than the contents of a random wallet? Think about this. Someone drops their wallet, what do they lose? A couple $100 maybe, right? And then they have the pain in the ass of canceling some credit cards and going to the DMV. Are you worth more than that? Yeah, a lot more, I would hope, right? So you're offering something much more urgent to her life, much more valuable than the dropped wallet. But the question is, do you believe it? And the answer from this room was not really, right? Right? But you should. You should believe you're offering that kind of value, right? And at the very least, you should also know that the worst case scenario is she's going to walk away feeling like a little bit flattered and go on with her day, right? A lot of guys have this idea in game that they're kind of like ashamed that they're doing game, or they don't want to get caught doing game, right? How many of you guys would be more likely to talk to a girl, she's walking all by herself with nobody around, versus if she's walking like in a crowded place? Yeah, a lot of you guys would talk to her with nobody around. Weirdly, she might feel more like intimidated if she is all by herself, right? If there aren't people around, right? And you probably know logically that none of those people around are going to say anything or do anything or affect the outcome in any way, shape, or form. They probably don't care. And to the extent they do, they'll look. Some of the guys may be like, "Holy fuck, I'm amazed," right? So it doesn't really matter, but you're nervous about it, right? Because you're afraid of getting caught doing game, right? Here's a really funny one, or a really interesting one, with a cool story in the end of it. A lot of guys, if they're talking to a girl and a guy comes over, they immediately just leave. They don't find out how they know each other. They just fucking, oh shit, like, sorry, I wasn't doing game, bye. And they leave like, oh shit, I got caught doing game, I must leave, right? Awful, horrible. Right? Oh, hey, nice to meet you. How do you guys know each other? Right? Oh, we're dating. Oh, yeah, cool. Your girlfriend's very, very cool. You're a very lucky guy. Fine, no big deal, right? Get caught doing game, who cares? You didn't do anything wrong. And you should believe that. You should believe I'm being social, I'm adding good vibes to the world, I'm offering possibilities, right? I'm not doing anything shady or nefarious. If you believe game is shady and nefarious, that's going to reflect in your open. You're going to open a little too quietly. As you know those guys that go around like offering drugs like, hey, Coke, Molly, weed, Coke, right? Say it like under their breath because they don't want to say it out loud, right? Don't be that guy when opening, right? Don't be like ashamed that you're going to get caught and arrested, right? You're not. It's fine, okay? Game is completely fine, right? So a funny story about this, about getting caught doing game. So I had a student, this is in Barcelona, and my student talked to this really hot girl for quite a while, and they were like, they met in the bar, they went out to the beach together, and then went back in the bar, and he'd been all over the place, and I was thinking like, this guy needs to pull. This absolutely needs to be a pull. And then I don't remember exactly why he ended up leaving the set. I don't know if he took a number and left or just ended up like leaving because he thought it wasn't going anywhere because he didn't read the signs or something like that. But I was like, dude, you've got to go back to that. Like that's like that girl was super hot. I asked him, did you like her? He's like, I really liked her. I'm like, go back, you're doing this, okay? And I think so. I think what happened is she went to the bathroom. Yeah, that's what happened. She went to the bathroom and he let her go to the bathroom. This is exactly what happened. And then and then she didn't come back for a while. And then he's like giving up and doesn't want to go back. She's like, if she really liked me, she'd come back, whatever. I'm like, no, we're going to go find that girl. We're going to do it, all right? We walk over to the bathroom, like over near the bathroom, and we see the girl there talking to some other guy. Some other guy has come in and is talking to her, right? Now, I happen to know that that guy didn't come in with her, right? I don't remember if I knew because I'd seen him earlier or seen her earlier, but I knew that they were not together. I knew this was a cold approach. And so he's like nervous, like, what do I do? How do I handle this, et cetera? The advice I gave him, which I thought was actually brilliant, I thought it was genius, and it worked, so I guess it was. I told him, go over and just say hi the way you would if you were her boyfriend. Just walk over and go say hi and put your arm around her the way you would if you were her boyfriend. Because I knew that it was a cold approach, and I knew it had just started. And I was kind of counting on the fact that 95% of guys, when caught doing cold approach, turn tail and run. And so he went over and did that, and the guy immediately was like, oh, okay, sorry, bye. And just assumed they were together and just left. Even though he'd been doing a really good job, and even though like she had a lot more history with my students, but in the moment, there was a lot more vibe for the guy, and it would have been hard to actually go stand in and compete in AMOG game, because he had a good game too, right? But just by going in and being entitled, and the guy like, oh shit, I got caught doing game, I'm running away, he ended up getting back with this girl and ended up pulling, okay? So I actually used that to my benefit for once. I've seen it not work for a lot of students. I'm glad it worked in their favor one time. But the point is, don't be so fucking nervous. Don't be insecure about what you're doing. If you believe you're doing the right thing, who the fuck cares what anybody else thinks?